Absolutely. So we know that means to always get better and to exercise our creativity. And changing is always going to happen. We're always going to have to face change. So the minute we get comfortable with where we are, we need to know that that's going to change pretty quickly. So one recent example in my career was when we were tackling this challenge of how do we bring about learning in a disaggregated workforce? How can we do it? So we support a call center, Chick-fil-A Help Call Center. They're there to serve 24/7. Currently, they're all housed in the same location. But as we grow, we're going to be moving them to other parts of the country, other parts of the world, so they'll be disaggregated. So the question of how can we do this? How can we ensure the strong cultural elements that are so important to our business are successfully conveyed along with accurate content? And how can we ensure the learners are engaging, not an out of sight, out of mind world? And keep in mind, this is the problem we were thinking pre-pandemic 2020. So this was kind of out of the box thinking at the time. We really didn't have any reason we had to push for this, but it was just something we were starting to consider, and we really had to think outside of the box and come to the team and say, how are we going to do this? We've done instructor-led training for all these years where people come to a classroom and we're face-to-face with them and we teach them and then they leave. How are we going to do this when they're not here, when they're in different time zones? And how do we make sure they really are engaging and that they're also picking up, how are we conveying the cultural elements to them? So we had to think outside the box. We had to really get creative with tools and look at what new cutting edge technology there was. And I can say really it tags on a little bit to the vision. Once I got the team involved in the vision, they were cheerleaders, but a lot of other people in our department were a little bit more naysayers about it, not super interested and not convinced. But we had to have a lot of courage, I would say. We had to have courage to forge ahead when we weren't even confident. We hadn't even taken this journey before, but we had to take the journey with the confidence and the courage that we were going in the right direction. So funny enough, in the end, it's turned out to be really ironic, I guess would be the word, is we really got a head start on what we needed to do anyway when the 2020 pandemic hit. So when that hit and the rest of our department was scrambling to figure out how are we going to do this? We have always done this in person. We actually already had all the groundwork laid for our department or for our audience, and we were able to smoothly make that transition. So that was very encouraging and provided, I guess, the encouragement to do that the next time that I'm in a situation where we have to think about reinventing.
And so what sort of things are you doing? How do you train now if you can't do it face to face?
Yeah, so now we are doing asynchronous and synchronous combination of courses.
Can you explain that? What does that mean?
Yes. So synchronous means that we're doing kind of like what we're doing now. You and I are speaking live, and I could be training you on something, I could be talking with you and teaching you something, but then asynchronously would be something that you would be doing on your own. So we've taken a lot of our courses that used to be instructor-led, and you'd sit in class for maybe 4 hours or 8 hours to learn, and we might have a self-guided module that you would go through with some hands-on exercises, some questions, lots of variety, because you have to keep it interesting. And then in addition, we would have some kind of live session where we would have this one-on-one where we could answer questions or talk. But we also are doing a lot with experimenting with platforms where we can post things, and then even if somebody's working the middle of the night shift, they can watch the post later and comment, and then we moderate and kind of go back and forth. So it's kind of like a living learning stream, which fits into my vision of just this ecosystem of learning, where learning isn't something you do, learning is just something you live in. You just exist in that, like water. So that's really fits, that learning model fits better than an instructor-led, in my opinion anyway, but it's really, conditions have really pushed us to that. So it's been kind of exciting to see it play out.